Hello. Hi, you guys. Come on in. Okay, let's make sure we can all see in here, right? Welcome to the chaos. Oh, today is so funny and chaotic over here. I don't know. What's happening? What's happening in your life? Okay, if you're here, come say hi. Most importantly, so I know that this is like working. Let's see. I'm going to tilt this down a little. I have one more book so you can see. So come over to the chat box if you guys are just joining. We're going to get started here right away. Just need to make sure our angles are good. Kind of. Okay, so I hope that you are just doing and feeling great right now. Hopefully better than me. I have a little bit of a cold, aka sexy voice. And yeah, it's just been funny. But as is real life, you know, and I think as is part of this being a live class and talking and thinking about cooking in real life and just kind of like sharing things that are simple and easy, even when life throws you stuff that you don't plan for, right? That's really what this is all about. So today I thought it would be fun, seeing that it is November and that there's a lot of cooking probably starting to happen and go on. I wanted to do something fun for Thanksgiving, and or things that you could eat nights that are not Thanksgiving too. So things that are like a little bit more special and elevated than just your day-to-day things, but also being like things that you could incorporate into a holiday meal if you wanted to, and two brand new recipes. So one is going to be a vegetable based. As you know, I want you to just keep eating your vegetables no matter what. It doesn't matter what month of the year it is. So we're going to do a roasted Brussels sprout sort of twist on the classic with this really delicious sauce that's actually so easy to make and just kind of like elevates it and makes it feel like a Brussels sprout dish that maybe you would get out, but is so easy to make at home. It's also very quick and simple. So we're going to do that. And I'm trying to decide which one we're going to do first, because the second little special November treat, so these are both new recipes up in your dashboards right now, are gluten-free savory cheddar cornmeal scones. You can also call them biscuits and turn them into biscuits if you'd like. I did them as like little tiny scones. I made them yesterday. There was like 15 of them. I always test all these recipes, of course. So this is from yesterday's test batch. There's 15 and now there's just 4 left. So what does that tell you? So I made them they're like little tiny savory scones. You could also add in, like instead of using cheddar cheese, you could use goat cheese. You could add in chives. You could do like a turkey bacon in there too. What was something else? Oh, even just like, I wanted to try like a broccoli cheddar savory scone. You know, I'm trying to always sneak those veggies in. So those are the two recipes we're going to do today. So if you guys have any questions about that or you want to follow along, they are both in your dashboards right now, and you can follow along. I'm trying to think what will be easiest to maybe do first. So I'm going to start with the savory cheddar scones because they're kind of, I don't know, more fun. It's different. Last night Kyle was trying them. He's like, these are so good. And normally he's not like a huge fan of my baked goods, because I always try to, he's like a purist. He's like such a purist. I always try to make them too healthy. And he's like, what? There's like, this tastes like just oatmeal. Like they all just taste like oatmeal to him. So he tried them last night. He's like, these are really good. Like what is in these? So I was telling him the ingredients. He's like, oh, okay. So it's like a normal scone. I'm like, yeah, I didn't try to like healthify anything in here. It's just purely a scone that is savory and gluten-free. So it's just made with like real ingredients. And I feel like a lot of times when you do see like savory scones or different types of biscuits, it's like really heavy and you feel heavy after eating it. But these ingredients are just kind of like actually pretty light and simple. So starting with cheddar cheese. So 1 cup of cheddar cheese. Again, you could try a different type of cheese if you'd like. I'm just using like a Beecher's cheese, like a white cheddar here. And I'm just grating enough, and then I will measure it. So grate first, then measure. It also has some cornmeal in it, so that kind of gives it some like texture and some crunch, but still is gluten-free. Some gluten-free flour. So when I say gluten-free flour, I always usually mean like a blend, like a mixed blend, like Trader Joe's is usually my favorite. So you want it like a mix of different flours instead of just using like almond meal. For things, especially like holiday types of baked goods, things that you want to like swap more easily into just like something you could swap for regular flour. That's kind of the way to go. So see, this kind of, I'm just eyeballing it. It looks like about, no, it's still short. Then it also has, we're going to do butter. There's a lot of butter in here, which I love butter. Don't we all? And there's also a little bit of, I used almond milk. You can use coconut milk. You could use cashew milk. You could use cow's milk. You could use heavy whipping cream, really whatever you have, whatever you like. I thought that the almond milk was nice because it's kind of lighter. So it's not overpowering. And again, it kind of keeps these scones, as much butter is in them, keeps them feeling like kind of light and flaky and crispy. Okay, so we've got this. We've got our 1 cup of shredded cheese. Then we're also going to do a little bit of sugar. I used just coconut sugar. That's what I have on hand. But I also tend to like it. It's like a little bit less sweet compared to regular sugar, and it releases into your bloodstream just a little bit slower. So it's a nice thing to have on hand. If you don't, you can also use regular cane sugar if you'd like to, and if that's what you have, then I would encourage that. And then it has baking powder, which is one of the key ingredients that will help it rise. And let's see, right now my oven is at 400 degrees. So if you're cooking along with me, do 400 degrees on your oven. It's actually nice because both of these recipes use 400 degree ovens. So we're keeping it simple. Okay, 1 cup shredded cheese. The next is a 1/4 cup of cornmeal. And this is the same thing you can use to make polenta, which I love. Like, we eat it all the time. Polenta is like my quick, easy meal go-to when I'm like trying to make dinner fast. Cooks quicker than like, just about the same as quinoa, like in like 10 minutes. So we tend to have it a lot. Everyone loves it in my family. So 1/4 cup of that. We're going to do 1 cup of gluten-free flour. So these make about like 15 small scones. You could also make them bigger if you'd like. I think small is best because then like everybody can try one, have one. You don't have to like fully commit to it. And they are pretty like flavorful, I would say, and great texture. So it's kind of like a nice, again, like a side. Nice little like side dish. If you make them too big, so I find that sometimes people won't try it or won't take one because they don't know if they're going to like it. Okay, it looks like I need like a tiny bit more flour. I thought it was going to be perfect. Okay, so this is, again, my favorite, Trader Joe's gluten-free flour. I try to get a couple bags every time I go. Keeps it easy. Here we go. And here is another great one too, the Bob's Spread Mill gluten-free 1-to-1. Baking flour is also another great version. That's what I have. Happen to have both. We'll do a little mix. Okay, so about 1 cup of that. There we go. So the recipe is simple. It's just 1 bowl. You're going to add everything in except the butter. The butter we're going to treat more like a pie crust for those of you who are more bakers. I tend not to be. So we're gonna want cold butter. You can take it out when you're starting the recipe. Also, side note, did you know that Costco now makes its own version of grass-fed butter, just like Kerrygold? So I've been trying that, and I think it's great. We go through a lot of butter in this house. Okay, almond milk. Now I am using the end of my husband's. This is not a brand that I love or recommend. But he went to the store and this is what we got. I don't love it because it has locust bean gum, gellan gum, potassium sorbate, whatever. I'm using what we have, right? As you guys all should. And it's only 6 tablespoons. There's really not that much of it. Again, It's not about being perfect all the time, just what you do time and again that matters most. So most of the time I make my own. See if I can count and talk. 3, we just need 6 tablespoons. 4, 5. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Perfect amount. Yeah, so again, most of the time I make my own, or if I'm buying almond milk or cashew milk, I tend to buy cleaner brands without all the emulsifiers, but just like use what you've got. Okay, next is the coconut sugar or regular cane sugar if you want. So it's 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons. I'm sorry for those annoying measurements, but originally this recipe was like doubled, and I just think it's so much. 2 tablespoons. I'm eyeballing it. This looks like about 2 teaspoons, so okay. Yeah, I forget what I was even saying, you guys. Can everyone see and hear? If you're here, let me know. Or if you're watching this later, we're just hoping that this is going to work, right? Sugar, we got a sugar. Oh, I was saying it was meant for a double batch, right? So I have these ingredients because 15 small ones of these, again, when they are rich but light, you don't really need more than that. Again, unless you're cooking for like a bigger crowd, I would say. So, but up to you. This recipe, the point is that this recipe would actually double very well. So this is 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, which I'm just going to do 3/4, literally. Keep it easy. And I'm going to mix it. So you want to do like an electric mixer, which you don't really need for this part, but we will when the butter is in. So it's already getting dirty, so I'm just going to do the whole thing that way. Okay, so we're going to go like this. Mix it all together. It will be pretty crumbly. So you can kind of see that mixture like that. It's starting to get like a little sticky. We're going to do our butter now. So make sure you can see. So if you do happen to buy these, like the Kerrygold size bricks, you want to cut it in half. That is about the size of a normal stick of butter. Or if you are measuring, it's about 8 tablespoons is 1 stick of butter. So either way will work. I'm just going to split this down the middle. Probably should do it on the cutting board like that. Wrap the rest of it. Okay, so I'm actually going to go cut down the middle a couple because we want the butter to be in somewhat small pieces so it will combine easier, so we don't get giant flakes of it. A little bit, this is like a little bit like making a pastry dough, if you will. So like thinner and smaller, I think is better if you can. They're going to stick together because it's cold, but cold is key here. If it's soft butter, the recipe will not work. You will not get as flaky of a scone. And again, I was saying too, you can do these as biscuits as well. The only difference would be the shape that you're making. So you can use like a little glass to cut out more of a circular shape versus a triangle scone. It's just totally up to you. And then other mix-ins, right? Like think about like a savory scone. You could use this as a base for anything else that you really love. So I know some people love bacon or broccoli or trying to think what else would be good in a savory scone. Some herbs would be great, or chives. Even like some green onion might be nice. Okay. Just going to break these up into pieces. And then this is going to take like probably 3 or 4 minutes to actually mix together. So just be patient. Okay. Almost there. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, someone was asking if I've tried this with almond flour. I have not. I think it would make it much more dense and maybe like moist. Okay, so here it goes. So the trick with the butter is that you want it mostly incorporated. It's okay if it's not perfect. But you want to stop once it starts getting like looking like the butter's like melting a little bit. We don't want to over process the batter. We want it to still be cold enough so that when it goes in the oven, it will be the texture that we want. Okay. So get our baking sheet out. The oven is great at 400. This is always tricky for me to like make sure you can see. Okay, let me see. I'm fine with reminders. Please let me know. And there is something too that we have been wondering on the inside as we kind of come into thinking about the new year ahead with the cooking club. If you have liked these monthly cooking classes, or if there's something that, have they been helpful for you? Do you like them? Do you watch the replay? Do you like to do them, like come to them live? Is it something that we should continue? Or is there something else that would be even more helpful or more serving of you in terms of how I can help support you and encourage you? Is it helpful to like know and to see these recipes being made, or just more important that you know you have a new recipe in the cooking club every single week? So we're going to be sending out some feedback, and it would be so helpful if you're able to just chime in on what's working, what's not working. Your feedback means everything, and it is truly what we use to like figure out how to help support you the best and figure out what is actually helpful versus not. So I feel like some of the best ideas have come from you and this community. So please let me know your thoughts, and that would be awesome. So we're going to be sending that out in the next, like this month. So be on the lookout for that. That would be so helpful. Okay, so again, I am doing these as little scone shapes. You can do them as drop biscuits. Using like a cookie cutter probably wouldn't work because the batter is so sticky. So it's more of like a free form style scone or biscuit here. And I think smaller is just better, you know? That way people can have two if they want more. Like my favorite over here. Yeah. Gluten-free baking is such a unique thing, I think, to like crack the code on. So I'm really excited about these because it is like it's like a fun recipe to try and include, especially with things that are more like traditional holiday recipes or traditional Thanksgiving recipes. Can be like very heavy sometimes, and just have ingredients in them that don't make you feel good the next day. And then especially when combined with other like very rich ingredients, can really not make you feel good. So it's always good to have some options. And a couple people were asking, if you search by holiday in your cooking club portal, you will see tons of holiday recipes, like favorite cranberry sauce, like the Brussels sprouts. I have different Brussels sprouts, just regular roasted Brussels sprouts. There's, green bean recipes. There's, all that like squash soup. So many things. And I do actually have a full like holiday recipe guide that we're doing on sale right now in the Simply Real Health shop. If you want like everything, like soups, appetizers, salads, desserts, main meals, things like that. Most of them are in the cooking club itself. But if you want to have like a set thing and it's already printed and ready to go, I think it's like $13 or something on sale right now. So that can be a great resource too if you feel like you're really wanting to upgrade some of your favorite holiday recipes, or you want different versions, or you're cooking for somebody who's gluten-free, or you're newly gluten-free. It just, the whole thing can be overwhelming. So there's lots of options. Just know that you don't need to suffer, right? Okay, so you've got those. I'm going to pop those in the oven. Right here. Any questions so far? Okay, someone was asking, can they be made vegan? Doing like a vegan butter and without the cheese. Yeah, or probably a vegan cheese, although I don't know what those ingredients look like. I haven't looked. I feel like there's got to be some versions now that are much better than they used to be. Like, just look at the ingredients. That always tells you everything you need to know, right? I want to believe that there is a brand or a version out there that does like a plant-based cheese that's clean and not full of a bunch of stuff, but you never know. Correct, set the timer. Okay. But yes, that would be worthy of trying, in my opinion. You could also, again, add in different things. Like maybe it's you do the vegan cheese and like broccoli instead, so that you're still getting, or some like an Italian herb seasoning. That could be a really good option. Yeah, great question. They're savory, so you just want to think like savory. What else would work with that? But everything else is plant-based, vegan, and they're definitely vegetarian, so could work for a lot of different things, right? Depending who you're cooking for and what you're doing this season. Okay. Yes. Okay, so someone was asking just about my like stuffy nose, like what do I do for it? So my favorite thing to do, and the thing I've been like drinking all day, it helps so much, is to just do hot water with a squeeze of lemon juice and a cinnamon stick. And sometimes I do some ginger in there too. I just keep like a ginger root frozen in my freezer, and you can use it doesn't need to be peeled, but you can use the whole root and just this is what I've been using, and I just grate it over my hot water mug with lemon, and then a cinnamon stick is just so good. But it helps kind of with inflammation. It helps give you immediate vitamin C. I'm trying to think what it's called in the cooking club, but the recipe's in there. I want to say like winter, it's like Bali tea or immune tea, something like that. If you look it up, I bet it's in there. So that's what I've been doing, and I love that. And then I'm also doing like the Beekeeper's Naturals honey in tea. I'm loving spearmint tea right now, or the yogi tea, lemon ginger. So all are just great to have on hand this time of year. I'm just trying to rest, which I'm not doing now. But this is like fun. It's not stressful. I love doing this every single month. So I just want to make sure it's something that you guys are loving to and finding helpful, because if it's not, I can think of a lot of other things that probably would be helpful to do. So we can get creative together. So when you see that survey come out, let me know. Let me know. All right. So the Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts, haven't even talked about them yet. They're so easy. We're just doing a basic roast on these Brussels sprouts. In the recipe, I have it written for 2 pounds of Brussels sprouts, because truly, if you're going to go through the work of doing 1 pound like I'm doing now, you might as well do 2, and then you'll get extras and leftovers. So the basics, I'm sure you all know, but a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. And the fun stuff is actually just all comes in the sauce. So this is something there where you can cook the Brussels sprouts right before you're ready to eat. They take about 25 minutes in the oven. I'm actually going to stick them in. I have the oven on convection bake, so I can do both of these at once. So just kind of like gently toss them. Takes 25 minutes, which is actually the same as these scones. So I'm going to toss those in there, and then we're going to get to work on the sauce, which is something that you can definitely make ahead of time. So this being the season of trying to, that's like my biggest Thanksgiving tip. I'm like, anything you can do ahead of time, do it. Like make the cranberry sauce. I always have it scheduled for like the week before Thanksgiving. Just buy it. So one, it keeps you out of the stores. It keeps you from like feeling stressed. It keeps like the ingredients from running out. There's so many things. So, and then it's done and you keep it in the fridge. So this is one of those things where you could make this sauce ahead of time. And I'm just looking for I'm going to rinse these guys out. And this recipe too is something that works really great on all types of roasted veggies. So it doesn't only have to be Brussels sprouts. It's great with string beans, great with roasted squash, roasted carrots, roasted parsnips, roasted sweet potato, broccoli, cauliflower. Anyways, so I call this like the magical restaurant sauce. Because you know when you go to restaurants, it just, for some reason, you're like, what is in there? Like, it just tastes so good. Okay, so the ingredients in here are going to be maple syrup, a little bit of butter, a little bit of tamari and or coconut aminos if you don't do soy or gluten. Tamari is gluten-free. Soy sauce is not, but they are interchangeable. A little hot sauce if you'd like. I am going to use this probably to give to the kids later, so I'm not going to put any hot sauce in, but that's a nice little add if you'd like to. And then green onions are also another optional add. It's more just kind of to garnish on top. And then we're going to do some sesame seeds, which I happen to have black sesame seeds. I love, these are such a fun, quick, easy garnish, and sesame seeds are so good for you. So just like a fun little thing to pick up at the store next time. They're so good, and they look beautiful, like the black ones especially. They really pop with veggies. Okay, so it's 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. And we're doing this in a saucepan because we want the butter to melt. And it's almost like a caramel sauce. So it needs heat. I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of tamari sauce or coconut aminos. Again, the two are interchangeable. That kind of gives it the salty, like umami taste. Then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of butter. Here. This. You could also do olive oil too, if you don't want to do butter. Again, that would make it vegan, vegetarian. So if you're, again, cooking for different types of people, that's helpful to know. We'll do a little pinch of sea salt and some pepper. Okay, so we have maple, we have our butter, we have tamari. If you want to do hot sauce, you can. And then I'm going to save the sesame seeds here. So I'm just going to bring this over low heat at first. I don't want the maple syrup to like burn on the bottom of the pan, so I'm just going to whisk it. Look at all these bottles. Get this out of your way. Okay, can we all see? Any questions about this? Okay, someone was asking the coconut aminos, that is soy-free too. Yes, coconut aminos are soy-free and gluten-free too, so they're a great option for people who can't do soy either. You guys know I'm so just always aware of allergies and sensitivities, and I truly think there's a way to make anything or adjust anything. Just takes a little creativity, and I think the more you cook, the more you kind of start to understand that there's always kind of easy swaps you can make, even with things like gluten. Yeah, great question. Okay, so let me fork. So we're gonna do this now. Now that the butter is starting to melt, I can turn the heat up. I'm kind of closer to like a medium heat right now, and we want the butter to melt. And it's actually going to take like 2 or 3 minutes ideally for it to melt as you're whisking it, for the things to come together, and the sauce will kind of thicken. So you want it to be overheat for like, again, 2 to 3 minutes so you can start to see it like thickening. Then once it's done, again, this is the part you can make ahead of time and then warm up when you're ready. And also use on different things throughout the week. When you are ready to use it, you will want to warm it up again. And you're definitely going to want to have the Brussels sprouts warm. So plating wise, because I know this won't be done by the time we're done here, plating wise, I would do like a more oblong. Here's my extra peppermint. I think June is playing with it. So I would probably plate the Brussels sprouts when they're done in something like this or some sort of plating that you like. And then we're going to drizzle the sauce over the top. So again, restaurant vibes, right? Then we're going to take the sesame seeds and sprinkle it over the top. And then this is where, if you're doing scallions, that's where you can be thinly slicing them right now and sprinkle that over. And it just brings like another element of like green. It brings a little bit of like tang to it too. So if you're going for fancy, that'd be the way to go. Okay, I'm just whisking. It's a little bit like gravy, which is funny. Like this. And then you can reduce the heat a little bit once it's all combined. So I'll probably keep this on for another like minute or two, but can you see this? It's just like it's starting to thicken and become almost like a caramely sauce. It smells so good. If you'd like, and if you like, you can also add a little splash of almond milk or coconut cream or real milk or whatever you have, and that will make it even more of like that caramel-y tone, like a little bit of cream in there. There's butter in there already, so that does that a little bit. But that could be another little, again, special addition to that. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? No. Okay. You guys are excited about this. It's so fun. Yeah. It's fun to just like try some new things. I like, like every couple years, sometimes some years I want just basic and simple. Other years I'm like, there's got to be another way, to like do these veggies or make it, try something new. And you never know. I have had years where I'm like, now those are the things I go to that are my yearly go-tos, like the cranberry and applesauce. That one's in your portal too. So I just think it's a fun time, especially when it can be easy, like less than 25 minutes, no matter where you are doing or enjoying Thanksgiving, or if you go a totally different route. I also love that too. Love the people that just like cook like Indian food as a feast, or they do pizza instead. It's awesome. So these recipes, again, my hope is that even if that's not how you celebrate, that you can try these on other days and they will be delicious and fun and just like another way to elevate the holiday season without feeling like horrible afterwards, right? It's all about feeling good. And I think you can do that by choosing really, really high quality ingredients, keeping it to the most real food versions as you can. And also focusing on like what you love and the things that bring you the most joy and the things that matter to you, and being really clear between those things and the things that are just kind of clutter or around or other people are eating or other people are doing. So that's something to definitely think about as we start to walk through the next 6 weeks of this season ahead. There's going to be so much stuff there of being picky and choosy because you are worth it, and not just putting anything and everything because other people are around you or because that's what you do or because that's the tradition. Really thinking like, how can I upgrade this so it's more real food ingredient based, so then my body will actually know what to do with it. It can handle it better, can process it better. It can have more nutrients involved in the process of eating. So it's really good to think about like what things are just clutter, what things you actually love, what ways can you upgrade the things that you do love, and just so that you can bring more joy and enjoyment. And that's really the whole point of of eating, hopefully, and living your life and not being too, afraid of being so perfect at it or being so all or nothing. A lot of this season tends to bring a lot of that mentality up of just like, whatever, screw it all, I'll pay attention in January. And then you feel horrible by January and you kind of dug yourself in this hole that's really hard to get out of, physically hard, really hard. You have so many sugar cravings and blood sugar dips. And I'm just such a fan of like steady, consistent things done every day, every week, over time, what you're doing the most that matters. That's what matters the most, and having joy with things and paying attention and finding joy with cooking and like the simple pleasures in life. That's really what it's all about. So happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating. If you try any of these recipes, I'd love to see them. And again, be on the lookout for that survey. I would just love to know some of your thoughts, if there's ways and things we can do to make this experience better, the things that you're loving most, the types of recipes you want more of, all of it. Okay. I love you guys so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great holiday season. We'll be back next month with some fun holiday favorites too. Love you.